speaking about these successes kind of like over time, then when we talk about like, like getting, like placed in these competitions, right?
Yeah.
Then signing a manager, then signing an agent. Like, um, how is your attack in like the perception of success and how you like self-promote or market or talk about those kind of accomplishments changed? Because like I said, like when you place in some of these festivals, like you got to share the laurels, right? You got to be like, hey, like I'm out here doing this. But then as things progress and you get like you get meetings, like you're not gonna post on Instagram about your meeting that you had. Like but that is a form of success. So it's weird. Right?
I don't post about all the meetings I get because that would be, I
mean, it's crazy.
Me, I think that would be weird. Also, it would tell my employer that I wasn't working at that moment.
Yeah, that's true.
But also because, I mean, like if I had done that in July when I had like, I think it was like 42 meetings, that would have been so weird. I do though, having said that, I have seen some writers, directors, actors, or whatever, they do like to post up. They'll be like, hey, big meeting, cross your fingers, they picked me. And I've seen someone be like, hey, big meeting, someone A-list could be attached to, and then later it's like a project that never sold.
I'd be too like afraid to post anything about it. It seemed like, but I definitely see that on like writer Twitter a lot about like meetings and stuff. I'm like,
I don't know. It makes me, okay, so like you were saying about the laurels, when you do get laurels, at first it was something I did because I was excited, be like, oh no, I made it. Oh my God, those 18 people said I'd never make it and I made it. But then after that, and after kind of seeing how more of like the festival and the competition circuit is such a labor of love for the people that do it, and I mean a labor of love. I mean, it costs them money. They generally don't make money. And whatever money they do make, it's not that much. And they still have to, you have to pay your readers and all this other stuff. Like it's a labor of love to run some of these things. And so I did feel like grateful that they would have selected my work to qualify or place or win, but then also like out of respect for the fact that this is how they make their living, is by giving you exposure when the opportunity meets the right quality of work. And so I would post it, but to like what you're saying, you don't want to be so annoying, and I didn't mean to place in everything, so I actually kind of got to
Oops,
I got to a point where I was
amazing.
Like, I know you and I have talked about this, but like you get to a point where you're kind of like, try and stagger it out. So it's like, I'll win something on Thursday, but I'll post it 2 weeks or 5 days later because you're like, I just posted.
Like then I'm just bragging. It's like, all right, this guy.
But it's like you feel sincerely appreciative, and in some ways it really does add to maybe the vetting process a manager or an agent would have maybe thrown you into. But at the same time, you're like, oh God, I just won that thing. No, I can't post again.
It's embarrassing, but again, it's like a successful accomplishment thing, so you should be proud of it still.
Well, so I mean, even though it's, well, right, but even though it seems a little cliche, or I don't know, maybe it makes me kind of nerdy, whenever I do post these things, for the most part, I try to remember that I wasn't the only person in it. And I always or at least I should say I almost always, because I try to always do it, but congratulate the people that just participated. Putting your work out there, first of all, spending that little fee or big fee, whatever it is, putting yourself out there, having written something that is all about you. It's not about a team. It's all about this, it's success or failure is all on you, win or lose. I have great respect for that. And so whenever I do well, I always say congratulations to the participants or the other finalists or whoever's up there with you.
Elevate other people as much as you can. Yeah.
Because I mean, really, those people also help you raise your bar. Like I said, this girl in college, I read her stuff. She was a fantastic writer. I would love to be on a list with her. It doesn't matter if I've been doing it longer or if I have more work. Her work is fantastic. I would love to be on a list like that or with her. So I always say congratulations to the participants or anyone that entered or whoever the other finalists are with me, because I do have great respect for them. More so probably than myself even having to post it.
It is one of those also like old adages in the film industry where like you have to be nice, or at least pretend to be nice to everyone, even if it's just like the PA or, you know, interns or whatever, because, you know, down the line, you know, they might be running the studio that you need to, you know, talk to. So, but like, so there's the business side.
Jeremy Paramount or something, yeah.
But then there's also just like, be a good person and don't be an asshole. It's like, and it is a good opportunity to just like meet friends or collaborators or just other people to give you feedback, and that can all kind of like benefit everyone over time, I think is the thing.
It really does. But I mean, for me, it really is sincere. I feel appreciation for it. But you know, one of the screenwriters that kind of told me that was a screenwriter. She'd been doing it for a lot longer. She's been doing it forever. And whenever she would see my name was on a list with her, she actually would tag me in her list. To make sure that I was getting the same exposure she did, or sometimes she would see before I would, or she'd know I wasn't probably going to post it for a while. And again, that's one of those things, you network with someone like that, you learn from them, and it kind of teaches you how you can be better, whether it's in the form of writing or how to be a better professional in the scope of other people competing with you. It's great.
With that kind of thing, I always get like worried about my own like branding. If I'm gonna get like branded as the horror guy, right? And if you can jump between things, but I also think that that's another one of those things that people worry about too much early on, as far as like, you know, being typecast in a certain thing, because
pocketed to like a genre.
Yeah, or like, you know, like if I have a killer, like, no pun intended, horror script that
I seriously think you did mean to pun there.
No, it's
Own it.
like I said. But like everyone's gonna be like, oh, he can write horror. Here's some horror log lines. Can you run with this or whatever? Not that I'm against. I mean, if someone offers me something, I'll do whatever. No one is, but that's tricky.
People totally should.
I mean, obviously, this is all just promotion for me. But
and that's even better.
Well, that actually does kind of bring me to another thing I meant to ask you earlier when we were talking about similarly with sharing laurels. You said that you've done like talks with like for university or whatever, stuff like that. Or, but like,
so a friend of mine is a professor words, as he calls it, of literature, and teaches writing classes over at Bucknell. Saw that I was doing well, at least in competitively. I let him read something. He was like, would you be open to coming to speak? And at that point when he asked, some other things had lined up where like I was Coverfly's pitch week pick. I signed a manager from there, or met a manager through that event. I'd done well in some competitions, and so it was like, sure, like why not? And then I moderated a panel that actually spoke to managers and agents. I've always tried to stay open if there are opportunities like that. I don't necessarily seek them out. I mean, but if someone wants to ask me to be part of something or to do something like that, again, part of it is the pay it forward thing, and part of it is just I view everything as a learning opportunity.
That's good. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like a weird, I mean, even just like this kind of discussion, it's can kind of be perceived as like an optics tangential thing, but you know, does it hurt? No.
Any excuse to talk to Curtis, I'm there.
That's our main sell for this project.
Like I said, I just feel grateful. You know, agents are interesting creatures because they usually kind of don't show up until there's like a deal already on the table.
Sure.
It's like a lawyer. You don't really hire one until you need one. And so I was really lucky because I don't have a deal on the table right now. But they saw something, and are like, we can work with this. I'm like, you can work with this. So
Good luck. So
maybe they'll see this and be like, maybe not so much.
we made a mistake. No one's going to see this. It's fine. Do you submit or plan on submitting to any more of those competitions now that you've kind of passed a certain bar? Or, I mean, I know some people who
I passed a bar? What are you talking about?
manager, agent, those are bars. But I know some people who like on the kind of writer director side of it have a finished like short film or whatever, and they'll submit to festivals that they have really strong connections to, but they're like low level. I mean, I'm obviously guilty of this as well, but like it might be a lower level festival. It might be a fun time, but it doesn't really advance my career. But if I get in, there is still that kind of like endorphin rush where like external validation if I like get in or place a script or something. I mean, do you plan on doing that anymore, or are you just like, okay, now that I've done that, I'm on to the next phase?
Okay, so it depends on the project, to be honest with you. So if we're talking about my drama series or my feature, that's given me that little catapult, if you want to call it that. Probably not, unless it's for something like really, really big, like an Austin Sundance situation, or it's like some incredible fellowship opportunity. Other than that, I would say probably not. But for projects that are newer, where I don't even know if I should show it to the people that I work with, like my manager or my agents, yeah, I'll probably submit it to a handful of places. Just to, like, if it doesn't make it at all, or the feedback is really horrible, I'd be like, okay, like I thought it was brilliant, but apparently I'm not so brilliant. And I would go back and redo it before I showed it to anyone. So in those instances, yes. But you know, I also I do realize that on some level it's important to be thoughtful, because some of the reward or the prizes for a lot of those competitions and festivals is the opportunity to meet an agent or an opportunity to meet a manager. I would never want to remove that from someone. So I guess, I mean, again, like it depends on what the prize is. And the prize is just cold cash, probably entering, yes.
I mean, I kind of know the answer is, but like you work on multiple projects at once.
Yep.
Push those out at the same time.
Yep. Oh, okay. So the way it all started was I was working on one and I was solely dedicated to that baby. And then much like when you have a second baby, it's like the first one doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, that's a joke for my son.
Your door is closed.
Anyway. But no, really one offsets the other. So I was working on this thing that was really violent and very, very dark. I mean, more violent than normal. And so I started working on something completely different, just to kind of like offset sanity, because you get so deep into things and then you're kind of like, oh my God, like I would have to put Golden Girls on in the background just to like keep myself anchored a bit. But now, yeah, so I started working on another project just to offset that one. That one actually wound up competing and doing really well. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do multiple projects at once. Some people can't. Some people are just like, I want one thing, and that's the thing, that's my thing for a long time. And some people are more multitaskers. They, you know, they're like actors. They can do a movie and a TV show, right? Okay. I've got, I think 3 or 4 projects I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. Now, but they are like different kind of, slightly a tangent, but they are slightly different genres, or
they're
like
totally different from the other. They're totally different from the other.
I'm with you though, like, because as soon as I like finish writing a horror movie, I'm like, I need to write a comedy, or else I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah, what rom-com needs to be written right now? I'll do that one.
Yeah, I feel crazy.
That's definitely been my MO for sure. I mean, like I wrote this really violent thing, and I was like, what could I write about camping in the woods while reading? You know, like just, and I did. I wrote this pilot called Halfway to Beige about women that are in this failing book club and decide that they were reading Walden. They decided they're going to use YouTube videos to go build a cabin in the woods. By the way, you're about to see my son walk into his classroom. That's okay. Go ahead, buddy. That's it. This is evidence of me doing it all and juggling, by the way. But yeah, you just have to like be okay doing it, you know, balancing everything. But like by balancing everything, that means your sanity. Like,
Right.
I remember at one point I had 9 Inch Nails playing and BTS on YouTube.